What's up, guys? This your girl, Mommy So True, checking in. I'm back with another video. Actually, this is a part 2 of a survivor story that you recently listened to. Without getting too much into the details, if you didn't watch the first part, I suggest you go back. That link will be in the description box below. Make sure you check it out. This is part 2. This story is so interesting. It's so deep. A lot of you can relate to it because you've been through these marriages with these narcissists, whether it's been a man or a woman. Honestly, it does not matter. Gender has nothing to do with it. The pain is there, and the story is real. So here we are listening to part 2 from our survivor story. Ready to hear what you have to tell us. So what's going on, Survivor? How are you doing today?
I'm still here.
That's good, right?
That's been my go-to statement for years now. Mainly since my dad passed in 2016, December 1st.
Still
and
here.
I always say like that. That's when the world became scary to me.
Woo.
And my dad was 78 in a wheelchair and on oxygen, but his presence. I wasn't scared. I'm not scared of no man. I had fear of my father out of respect.
Yeah.
But once he wasn't here anymore, like the world became frightening. The world like became 10 times larger. It felt like my dad was funny. He didn't think he was funny, but the way he delivered me right, and I always kept the respect of regardless.
So you didn't come from the narcissistic dysfunctional family.
Well,
not per se.
Not per se, like a lot of people say, where their parents, like I've heard horror stories, and it's weird to me because we didn't have that problem with our parents growing up. Now, my mother, as of late, especially since my dad passed, has, man, she's really changed, and I won't call her a narcissist, but she's very set in her ways, but she was born in 1942, so she definitely grew up at a different time. There was still, when I was growing up as a kid, one of the major grocery stores still had the colored and white water fountains. So we definitely had a lot of values. Now, I will say this, my mother and my father fought a lot. And it got bad at times, to where I always swore I would never, put my hands on my woman. But it's like my mom said, while your dad was a great father, he just wasn't a great husband. It took a while for me to understand that. I was well into adulthood before that made sense. It's just hard. Like I'm in a parking lot of the hospital now, one of the major hospitals down here in New Orleans, where my current wife, has been here since Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so
they rushed to emergency surgery.
Yeah, let's talk about this current wife, because we heard about the first one.
Yeah.
Let's talk now about this current wife and how she got to the hospital.
Well, she suffers with a couple of autoimmune diseases, Crohn's and fibromyalgia, and she suffers with them bad. Well, she has severe inflammation in her small intestine to where it was causing a blockage and whatnot. And we've been back and forth to the hospital since we've gotten together, which I knew that she had these illnesses. I didn't have a problem with that because of how I felt about her and how I thought she felt about me. I thought it was completely reciprocated, completely mirrored. And she even says, like, she's probably apologized to me 20 times about having me stuck up in the hospital all this time. And I keep telling her, I said, you don't have to apologize for that. I said, that's my duty. I signed on for that. I was aware of your illnesses. Okay. And I've told her before. I didn't tell her this time because she's going through so much. And of course, I just can't. But I have told her in between times, like during the summer, I have no problem being here for you when your illnesses act up and I have to take care of you, wait on you, hand and foot, cook, go do all the grocery shopping, whatever. I signed on for that. That's my duty as a husband. My problem comes in with the other crap, and which I get silence, I got started getting silence lately. In the beginning when I was saying it, she was like, well, what other crap? I'm I'm glad you asked. You know, you open the door. You know, okay. The disrespect, the disrespect that you've made it okay for your children to show. To my home, to me in here, to my son that lives with me. You know, y'all came here. You know, as I said, her home got destroyed in Hurricane Ida in August of 2021. And I invited her to my house with two of her kids because her oldest son was in the military, so he didn't need a place to stay until the following March, which we got married February 22nd of 2022. And he came down maybe 3 weeks later because I had gotten him on doing movie details like I was doing. Well, it's a lot of money. You know, a lot of money. Just sitting in your car watching movie equipment, I'm making sure nothing happens to the actors or the crew. $35 an hour. Mm-hmm. Generally, you're sitting in your car with your lights running unless something pops off. Mm-hmm. You can't beat that. Yeah. You know, that is the easiest job in the world. And at my age, I'm definitely glad to have it. But I put him on. He was 20. I want to say he was 21 at the time. Yeah, he was. No, he had just made 22. And he messed that up, you know, but not only that, like, none of them were chipping in toward bills. And that's part of why I don't have that house anymore. You know, she also was like, I was making that money. I had cash gigs also. I would basically, I would put the cash in, I had gotten a file cabinet for her. And I was like, yeah, just put the money up, you know, the cash money, whatever I put up. Well, she was putting it up, you know, and one of the first things that was off to me was the air conditioner, the main unit, the central AC unit broke in the house. And I had told her to go and get window units for everybody because it was expensive to replace. Like, the unit was going to be about $2,000, and then they were like, yeah, and then to charge it up with the Freon, it's going to be another $500 or so. And I'm like, wow, and that's going to take a while. Mm-hmm. And it's May when this happened, and it gets hot down here, you know. So I said, go and get some window units. Well, she went to the store and got the window units. And she got one for everybody. She got one for our room, one for her daughter's room, one for her oldest son's room, and one for the room that her youngest son shared with his girlfriend because she was living with us too. One for everybody except for my son. Mm. Now, my son was actually paying bills. I came to the terms of thinking it had to happen because that's when God was going to bring everything to the light. Had I just been going to work, gone 12 plus hours a day, just putting the money there, paying the bills and whatnot, I wouldn't have seen what I saw, you know? Mm-hmm. My son who was staying with me, he wanted me to have some happiness, so he wasn't trying to interfere, so he just retreated to his room and would be back and forth to work. You know, he'd go out with friends and whatnot, so he wasn't saying anything about what was going on and why he retreated away from my wife and her daughter, mm-hmm. you know, because after me and his mom divorced, he really became more of a recluse. You know, he just retreated to his room. He was depressed. Couldn't believe it. You know, he cut his mom off. So he's you know, he's messed up. Like, he actually broke down crying to me one night. And he's a grown man. You know, but when my wife, she wasn't my wife yet, and her daughter were there. And her youngest son was there too with his girlfriend, but they would be in a room up under each other, so he wouldn't see them much. But he would be coming out of his room and spending time downstairs with my wife, my girlfriend at the time, and her daughter. And then suddenly he didn't. You know, he stopped abruptly. Mm. And I didn't get it, you know. The incident with the air conditioner made things a little more clear because just before that, it was time for her youngest son's senior dues to be paid, and she took the cash money that I had in her drawer and went and paid everything, you know, for his prom, his senior dues, his senior trip, all kind of stuff. And, you know, the day that she did it, she was like, I got to the school, I just can't understand it. I got to the school, and I know I paid for his senior dues and everything at the beginning of the year, and the woman was having a problem. She said she couldn't write me a receipt, but she she put my name on a list with other people's names. I said, okay, well, there should be a few people with that problem, right? You remember anybody who was there? And she was saying, no, it was the beginning of the year. It was September. I'm like, okay. So she told me, she was going to pay for it. I didn't have a problem with that. He's supposed to be our son, it's a blended family, but he's supposed to be our son. So, okay, let's get him straight, But a week later, not even an entire week later, the air conditioners break, and you don't get my son an air conditioner. And she's like, oh, well, I paid for it with my credit card, and I just forgot, the store you went to is 3 blocks away. You forgot. This was on a Friday evening. Saturday came, Sunday came. You didn't go and get him an air conditioner, and at that time, like I said, I didn't have the job. I was in between. I was in between badges, so I couldn't work that job at the time. So I called a friend and I borrowed the money intentionally. Now, she had a credit card that I was paying for, which boosted the limit up and up. I wasn't really worried about that because my name was on it too, so it was helping my credit. But I borrowed the money from a friend because she didn't initiate at all any move towards going to get him his own unit. So okay, I'm looking at that, and this was that May of 22, 3 months after we got married, where about a week or so after that, I found out, hey, your phone's dinging all night, every night. You got 2 phones, first of all. You guard that black phone for dear life.
2 phones.
But your phone is dinging all night. Usually when I'm getting up, when I'm working, I'm getting up at 4:30 or 5, to go do 12 hours and then come home. And at the time I was still in the academy, so I would have to, a lot of days it was no sleep. But I'm trying to do everything right this time. I'm trying to cleave to my wife. I'm going to take care of her. This is what I asked God for, even though I'm now knowing, hey, I think I heard it, the yes I wanted to hear. That wasn't God talking.
Yeah.
But so we were going through it because, like I said, at the end of May when her godbrother died, and her son had the phone, and I reached over and looked at it. Curiosity got the cat, and the cat found out some shat. I'm like, okay, didn't say anything. I'm just gonna pay attention, and I'm watching. Okay, you lied about this man. Let me see what else he lied about. And I'm looking, he lied, and then I ended up getting into that other phone that she guarded for dear life. And when she'd be asleep sometime, and oh boy, there's no way we would have gotten married. So I went to a lawyer because I needed to get a DNA test for my daughter, and I was seeking an annulment for the marriage. And this was 3 months in. She also told me one day, since I was home so much, and we weren't really talking or anything. Now, this is somebody who, before we got married, like for years, we every day, all day talking. We're on the phone, and if I go by her, we'll chill, we'll talk. If she comes by me, we'll chill, we'll talk. So all of a sudden, we barely talking. And I'm like, well, babe, we barely talk to one another. And I can remember she was getting up going to put something in the trash by the door of the room. And she was like, well, when 2 people spend a lot of time together, they end up not having much to talk about. I'm like, well, if that's what we are 3 months in, we definitely don't, But that was some gaslight.
Love bombing phase came to an end, boy. That's what she.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I ended up giving that back to her the following October, and she couldn't believe it, because of course I'm in Snoop mode. I'm paying attention. I'm Columbo. I'm digging. I'm finding stuff out. We had a dash cam in a car. It picks up on this part that's there with my wife telling her daughter, we're gonna go at him with a conversation like this. I said, huh? Let me back up.
Oh.
No, and then it cut off. So I'm like, wait a minute, let me back up. So I backed up a couple videos because it recorded a 3 to 5 minute segment, something like that. And I see what they're talking about me and the things that she's unhappy about it and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm barely there. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm paying all the bills. Like, I'm not understanding what's to complain about. She kept saying she wanted to have this family meeting. because it was the blended household. Not only was it our two households, but the son's girlfriend was from a third household. So yeah, I agree we needed a family meeting. However, I started seeing where the family meeting was only about my son. Everybody's having problems with my son, who stays in his room, who's chipping in on the bill. And he went from being our son to my son to that boy, his ex-wife's son that's not really his son. That hurt. That still hurts, because I've been dad since he was 3, and I don't do the step thing. And I was willing and able, I was wholeheartedly willing 100% to love her children the same way. And what I couldn't understand was, since none of their fathers, all 3 of them have 3 different fathers, want anything to do with them, and here along comes a man who still has, as you put it, his ex-wife's son living with him 4 or 5 years prior to the split. And I'm a sickly, if I was in her shoes, and I'm a sickly parent, I'm a sickly mother, where I could check out at any time. But I see this man is still taking care of the child whose blood does not, mother's not in his veins, but I'm still taking care of him all these years later. I would feel like, okay, if anything happened to me, I know my kid's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she didn't want me to have a relationship with her children at the time. Not the type of relationship that we were developing, where I'm doing things for them and they're appreciative of me, like her oldest son was appreciative of me getting him that job, making that type of money,
Yeah.
And I was supposed to be teaching her youngest son how to drive. And her daughter was real close with me, which we had been close since me and her mom were bro and sis, and I was Uncle Plex, but of course she's the golden child. And I found out the extent of that without fail once that camera cut off in the car. It came back on maybe 4 minutes later. And I'm like, well, the stuff they were saying prior to cutting the camera off, prior to my wife saying, we're going to go at him with a conversation like this, it was greasy enough. So if you had to cut the camera off, ooh-wee. I'm like, okay. So now I'm going to have to put some stuff in the car. You can cut the camera off all you want to. I'm still going to hear what God said. Because like I said, I've come to a point where I need to know how you feel about me behind my back, and that's going to let me know everything I need to know, As far as the first marriage, when I started recording in the end, because my first wife had started doing so much and saying so much, oh, you're not going to say this and that in a third, and then come back and say you didn't say it.
Yeah.
Because let me rewind the tape, I'm
crazy.
Like, she must think I'm stupid.
Yeah.
And, I always tell them, I'm like, fuck, please don't think I'm stupid. I might sit back quiet and observe, but
the dummy thinks you're a dummy too.
Yeah, and I've put up with a lot, and I should have been long gone, and it bothers me to the point to where I say, like, my niece became collateral damage of the whole situation, because I was supposed to be having my wife and her daughter evicted last February. In some kind of way, she gaslit me. I don't know how. And, we were talking and whatnot, but her oldest son started destroying things around the house. And then we didn't know if it was him and the little brother doing it or whatnot, but they both start acting crazy and talking reckless, talking to their mother reckless, and I'm the type like this, that regardless of what your mother does, like regardless of what my mom does, I'm not going to talk to my mama reckless. I can walk away,
Mm-hmm.
And we had gone through an incident like that the summer before the storm. at her house. She ends up calling me in the middle of the night one night because her oldest son is threatening her and cursing out and whatnot. And I went over there and I made him leave. You know, I didn't put hands on him or anything, but I'm telling you, hey, look, you call yourself a grown man. I said, a grown man knows when to walk away. I said, there's rarely any situation where a woman can force you to put your hands on her. And then it started being kind of like my brain all over the place with it. I'm like, well, wait, I know she got insurance on these kids. Does she want something to happen? I actually asked her, I said, you really starting to make me worry because I know you keep insurance on these kids. Like, is it that you want something to happen? Like, I'm not getting it. Because from as far as what I see, you don't care about them like you claim to. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, we understand why. Because you're a goddamn narcissist. You know, that's why your daughter can't tell anybody anything without you taking credit.
Without her. Mm-hmm.
It's my God, like the daughter come in, oh yeah, look, let me show you this. And if she's in here, I'm like, oh, I taught you that. I told you that. I showed you that. Or she tries to, as the daughter's saying it, she tries to start speaking the sentence with her. And I'm just like,
she's just an
object. To the point we're going to do it. Yeah, mama, I know you. Okay, mama, yeah, you taught me, but let me speak, please, you know. Okay. There's some tension there, you know, but then understanding why, once you understand why, you understand why, you know, if you know, you know. Yeah. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. No. But it's like crazy. It's like, man. So we're here now in the hospital, of course. She just got this morning that they took her back off food and water. They're going to hook her back up to the feeding tube because things keep going wrong. And it's like, I'm not getting it. It's like, you could honestly not walk out of here, but in the midst, you still got time to be evil. You got time to do anything evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. You don't know if you're walking out of here, love. All of her stuff. And my niece was perfectly healthy except for her injuries to her arm, her right arm, and her left leg. No head trauma, zero vital organ trauma. And he put her on that and ibuprofen and aspirin for 2 weeks. And it caused an aneurysm, which ruptured into a brain bleed, several mini strokes, the massive stroke, and then they oxygen deprived her. So now she's in a coma. Like, anything can happen. You know, anything can happen. If they have to go back in and operate, you cannot wake up from the anesthesia. It's like, it seems like at a certain point, you get things in order. Like, to me, that makes logical sense to me. But like I always say, I'm from the planet where 2 and 2 is 4. That's all it's ever going to be. I'm not going to get 5. I'm not going to get 56. I'm not going to get an astronomical number like 528. I don't understand how y'all are calculating things. That must be the new math. Like, it aggravates me to the core because stop trying to make something be something that it isn't.
That is not. Mm-hmm.
You know, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. I've dealt with everything. The triangulation, like it's even when my birthday passed February 9th. She posted me on Facebook, and we're not friends on Facebook. Like, I unfriended her a long time ago. First, I had to deactivate my Facebook because when we first got married, and she posted stuff, and you could go back and look. At first, I'm my wife this, I'm my wife and people to death. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy, I'm so proud. First thing that raised an eyebrow was I made a post that said, it feels good to finally have someone that will be there will be there with you through thick and thin no matter what happens. Everybody posting congrats and they liking it, they loving it. Somebody posted the laugh emoji. Well, who is that? I go back and look. I asked her, I said, do you know this person? She said, yeah, that's my cousin. I said, well, why would she laugh at this post? And she's like, She said, I don't know, I'm going to have to see what's up with her. And she had even told me when we were first back in touch, that this woman down the street trying to start mess with me because she think I'm sleeping with her old man and whatnot. And this was in the beginning. I'm laughing it off and whatnot because I'm thinking, no, she ain't doing that. Blah, whoop-de-whoop. Well, after I got into the phone and I'm looking back, oh, well, yeah, the woman was, you was sleeping with her old man. You know what I'm saying? That's why she was at your neck, you know? But like, goddamn.
Wow.
Like,
that is insane.
Ridiculous.
That's insane. That's...
Yeah.
That's insane. I don't even know how you made it through. That's why you're like, I'm still here. I'm still here because that,
Yeah, right.
woo,
I'm waiting
Jesus.
because
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's like what am I doing? And I get upset with myself, but I cannot bring myself to leave her while she's in the hospital like
Yeah.
this, and not knowing what's going to come. But you're still acting crazy, and as it stands right now, you have an ostomy bag hooked to you, and I'm the one changing it and cleaning you up and giving you a bath. You can't bathe yourself. Count for nothing.
So let me
You know?
ask you, if she does make it out of the hospital, where do you see you and her relationship going from here?
I mean, the relationship is done. I'm I'm trying to see that she gets back up on her feet. I'm not trying to have her. First of all, that'd be the narcissist. That'd be the narcissistic ass hand you fan with if I left you right now. Oh look, yeah, and he got somebody else. Cause look, he left me in the
He left
hospital.
me for
I
dead.
can't do for myself. No, well, first of all, I'm not gonna do that for you anyway. You know I'm not that guy. You know,
Yeah.
I am not that guy. Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, because the average Joe would have ran for the hills. Oh wait, all this going
Man.
on, and you got her. They're like, no,
Yeah, they would have.
this
They
is
would
where I
have.
stood before God, and I took my vows very seriously. I stood before God, and then the sickness and health part. I was trying to bear through the mental sickness and mental health part. And encouraging you to get some help, which you agreed that you were going to do. Oh Lord, what you doing that for? Because all you're doing is wasting the people's time.
Yeah.
And lying to them about what's going on, and eventually they're going to know because before we started having when everything got out in the open, when I confronted you with things, I was already recording everything.
Mm.
These recordings are in the hands of other cops and whatnot. Like I told my sister the end of last January, when we were about to split, I don't even think I'd be sitting there having this conversation if other cops didn't have this evidence, and if I didn't have a dead man switch, which is something even you, for the rest of your audience, they should look into. When there's evidence, when you feel you may be in any kind of danger, and hey, your story may not be told because you're dealing with a nut that may do you something.
Mm-hmm.
This will speak for you from the grave. But I let it be known that I have one. Let me not log in for 5 days. So whatever you plotting, you better hope you don't get me locked up. You better hope I don't get killed or something. You better hope I don't end up in the hospital some kind of way and can't log in for 5 days, because it's going to hit all of social media.
Yeah.
And that's just on you, love, because I tried, I begged, I begged you for a divorce. No, no. Of course, then, the crocodile tears a cry like I've never heard anyone do in my life. And I've been to umpteen funerals. When she was trying to convince me of how sorry she was and she just didn't value herself, and
Man, they will cry the snottiest cry. They'll cry the snottiest cry. It still don't mean a damn thing. Boogers and all.
Right. Because it's like, she's like snot screaming all down tear. I'm like, no. And then I'm seeing where you still trying to, in this confession you're giving me, you're still trying to lie because you don't realize the depth of how much information I found out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I've been all through your phone, baby.
Right. And you still lying.
You deleted. You thought it was gone.
I looked at deleted files, sweetheart.
I try to tell people.
Oh my God.
It's going to drop it in a volcano. Then it's gone. All them phones and the computers and stuff. No.
So let me ask you this though, because I think maybe some people might want to know this. So when you were dating her initially, were there any of these red flags? And did you notice anything with her phone? You did. Okay. You did. Okay. So
I didn't go through the phone until after we were married.
Because she gave you a reason to. Okay, I got you. So she gave you a reason to go through the phone that 2 months after the marriage.
Right. It was dinging too much overnight. She had said that, when two people spend a lot of time together, they end up with not much to talk about. Okay, well, somebody you're talking to every day. And she had, out of the blue, I'm going to work one. I don't know if I was at work or at school, but she texted me out of the blue, "Are you happy?" We ain't even been married 3 months. I'm elated.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sorry for anything I've done. This was on my way to school one day. This was after I started seeing things. I'm sorry if there's anything that I've done that have you not in love with me the way you used to be. I didn't even make it to school that day. I had to pull over and stop in the parking lot of the store at the front of the neighborhood and just get myself together and compose myself, because you know you're doing wrong. You know you're doing wrong. You know you're doing wrong on a level that the average man, like I told her, the average man would either beat your ass or kill you. The average man, like, you don't have that guy. Luckily, I'm not gonna put my hands on you regardless. But yeah, the average man go on your phone and find that stuff and find out that everything that you've told me since we've been back in touch since in 2018 has been a lie, and it has been grooming. Down to one of the first things she told me when our first conversation. I've been single for about 5 years now, and I've been celibate for 4 or 5 years.
Oh my God.
Well, I didn't think anything of it because I wasn't interested in her. I'm not thinking she's interested in me.
Y'all were just friends then.
I'm not knowing at the time.
Right.
All she saw was supply, but I didn't know that. I'm just thinking, okay, we just talking. But she telling me about how tumultuous her last 2 relationships was. Her first marriage and her boyfriend after that. I'm understanding why.
Yeah.
He
said,
like Chris Rock said, I'm not saying it's right, but I understand. Come on, no.
Right. No, I ain't saying it's right, but I get
it. Because I knew I knew her first husband in passing through the neighborhood, And I'm like, damn, when she told me all that, I'm like, damn, sis, I didn't know you was all that was going on across the street, because I would have beat the brakes off, you know what I'm saying? And he would have had a problem. Like, I've fallen out with friends who think they're gonna, you about to put your hands on your old lady in front of me?
Yeah. You're not that guy.
No, falling out with them. And so I'm feeling sorry for her, of course. Yeah. But I'm not knowing that that's all part of the
supply,
the plot, the scheme, you know?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I'm like, man. Wow. So, of course, I'm like, now, like, all the stories you tell me about this man, why would I believe any of them now? Now, I know he used to put his hands on you because people that we know in common, that I'm very close with, have witnessed it. But it's like, I can't still put any value on anything negative you've told me about him, because one of the things you told me about him is he was always accusing you of this one, that one, and a third, and whatnot. And guess what? In the sick-ass digital trophy case that you have of messages and emails and whatnot that you keep, he was right on the money. He was things were, it was a close-knit neighborhood. All our kids went to school together. Like, things were getting back to him. Yeah, bro, when you go to work, such and such a, Yeah, so he coming home mad. I done married you, and you out here like just the same way that I'm feeling. And it just was maniacal to me, because like I asked, I'm like, why do we have to be in a relationship anyway? And why do we have to get married? Because you had full access to my house. You had all the same amenities, full access to my house. I wasn't charging you anything to be there because I knew State Farm was giving you the runaround. I'm trying to be my brother / sister's keeper, an actual friend. Your other friends, what you gonna do? All these dues that you've given everything to for free. Oh, what you gonna do? You sending them pictures of your house. I'm talking about roof off, everything drenched in water, ceiling hanging down, just a disaster. What you gonna do? You know, even the guy that she was considering her kind of quote end quote boyfriend, she sent him the pictures of her home in September after she got home and took pictures, and he didn't reach back out to her till the following June. You know? And I had to call her on that because she was trying to triangulate indirectly. Like, she wasn't telling me anything. Like, she would mention him or whatnot, but there was one particular morning after I had started recording things where she calls her friend, and she like, girl, guess who called me this morning? 6:45 this morning. Woke me and my husband up. And she like, who? She like, girl, I'm not gonna say his name, but you know, she said it, and the friend was like, what? And she like, yeah, he on the phone yelling and crying. You got married on me? You got married on me? And she like, and me and my husband just looking, but my husband not saying nothing because he know what he got. He not insecure. He trusts me and all that. The phone call never happened. That never happened. So I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, you have a real lying problem.
Wow.
You know, like you just arbitrarily make up stuff that did not happen in this fantasy. Welcome to Fantasy Island. Like, what? That didn't happen. Like,
oh my God.
Call log didn't exist, and I had access to everything. Call log didn't exist. Call didn't exist because all her calls were coming to my phone. She just didn't know, you know. But hey, I needed to know what I'm dealing with. I need to have every bit of grounds that I need to stand on to put this marriage away.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not paying no money. You're not getting no alimony, palimony,
None of that.
none
of that.
Nothing.
None of that.
Nothing. You know?
Yeah.
Like she thinks she is going to. Like she was telling another ex-lover back in August when we had a split. And she on the phone with him. Well, he just don't know. He got obligations to me. He gonna have to take care of me the rest of my life.
She's a scammer.
Where do that at?
What a fraud.
Where do I will quit my job and live under the bridge just so I ain't got a bill. Nothing from nothing.
Dead ass.
Nothing.
Really, for real though.
You know,
damn.
I will show up to court homeless as hell. Well, yeah, this is me then. If like, I don't know what she gonna get. You know?
Well, Your Honor, I own one pair of drawers, okay? Oh my God.
Somebody else and get them to take care of you.
What a scam. What a scam artist. That's why her health falling apart like that. All that
That's
dirt.
I told her this summer.
All that dirt, man.
I told her last summer that as it stands, karma is tearing your ass apart.
Apart.
I said, you ever thought if you sincerely get down on your knees and repent that God might heal you?
Man, come on, say that again.
I said, he's more than able. He is
more than able.
But she doesn't equate anything that she is going to karma.
No.
And she puts it, she can reverse her karma. All you got to do is just tell God you're sorry, and we got a merciful God. And I'm sitting there like, jaw on the ground again, like, how come that don't work for nobody else? So just you. Just you. 8 billion people on the planet, everybody else going through karma, just
but
you, right?
you get, it misses
like
you.
Double.
That's narcissistic thinking. Mm-hmm. They think they get away.
Like, I'm like, man.
It's real.
Man, but I saw, it's like you asked a question, and I saw the guy, the online guy, Caliber. He had a thing about this show they just had. Who the F did I marry? It's a 50-part series or something, but he was breaking it down. And a woman who was on there talking was saying she saw all the red flags in the guy prior to marrying him, but what made her overlook it was he was everything she wanted, or something to that effect. You know, you can look that up yourself. I don't want to misquote, but it's something to that effect. And when I watched that, I'm like, you know what?
That's realistic.
You know what? Yeah, I said she hit the nail on the head because that's the same thing with me. Because there were
that's literally
looking back.
You think they are a soulmate, a perfect partner, you know?
I'm like, oh my God, like, how did I fall into it? I'm like, man,
yeah,
how did I overlook this? How did I get past this?
Yeah.
Because I cut her, when we were still friends, I had cut her off at one point because of what she was doing with this other guy and had gotten into some BS, like some heavy BS. Going into court BS and restraining order BS. And I cut her off and whatnot. And we hadn't seen each other for months. And I remember I was going up to the store at the front of my neighborhood one night. And she came walking out the store and she looked so sick. You know, she looked about how she looks now. She lost a bunch of weight. She just looked down, like beat down. And I'm like, and my heart, because it's like the one thing I've never been able to understand and still can't to this day is I didn't love my ex-wife like this, you know, and I worshiped the ground she walked on. I didn't love my ex-girlfriend like I've never loved anybody like I love this one, and I hate that about myself with a passion because, like, I got to be able to cut this old dumbass heart off. You know, this just ain't gonna get it.
Yeah.
I can't be this guy because it's detrimental to me and everybody around me. I have a 2-year-old daughter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have to be all right for her.
Yeah.
Because this world is too much of an ugly place.
That's something. I'm definitely praying for your niece though. That's a really sad situation. I'm definitely praying for you and your family on that. That's really crazy. But man, that's a story. That is one heck of a story. And I know there's so much details. I know there's so much details that we left out, but goodness, man, that's crazy. It's just like,
there's so much meat and cheese and lettuce and tomatoes and olives and pickles in between the bread slices.
Yeah.
That's all you've gotten is the bread slices.
Yeah. Well, guys, you heard it from the survivor himself. What a crazy story, but a lot of it probably resonates with some of what you have gone through. If this is your story, or if you have one similar, or you want to share yours because you have survived it and you're still standing in spite of the chaos and the craziness that you experience with narcissistic abuse, please book a free interview with me and share your story with the world. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time, guys. Until next time, beautiful people, stay blessed.